There have been a series of requests to go through some other examples of foreign-based company sales income. If you recall, in some prior videos we talked about something called foreign-based company income, and one of the subcategories of that related specifically to sales. And so let's go through a couple of those. And I'm going to, each example, I think I'm going to start with the very basic format, which is a U.S. parent company that in turn has a foreign subsidiary. And the first example that we showed in the last video was very straightforward, where a U.S. company sold to the foreign subsidiary. Make that foreign subsidiary. Foreign subsidiary sold to foreign customer. And again, this foreign subsidiary, let's just say, is in country A, customers in country B. So as we talked about, foreign subsidiary is where we measure the Subpart F income. It had a purchase from outside of its country of incorporation, namely the U.S. It sold to a customer outside of its country of incorporation, namely customer in country B, and therefore this meets the definition of the transaction flow. And then the last component is that either the purchase from or the sale to one of the parties has to be a related party, and in this case the U.S. parent company is the related party to the foreign sub. Very straightforward, very easy to understand and hopefully review. So let's show one other example though. This is very common on outbound transactions. Let's look at an example on an inbound transaction. So this country A, for example, may be Hong Kong, and maybe instead of it being a customer, what I do is I have a vendor, a supplier, right? A vendor or supplier. My Hong Kong company is going to purchase from the supplier. Let's say that they're in China, and then they're going to turn around and sell to the U.S. Well, again, who's on which end of the transaction is irrelevant. At the end of the day, the measurement's the same. Foreign subsidiary buys from outside of its country of incorporation, China, sells outside of its country of incorporation, the U.S., and it either buys from or sells to a related party. In this case, it's selling to a related party. So in this very simple example, you can see that procurement companies, offshore procurement companies that are sourcing from multiple locations run a very high risk of generating Subpart F income, foreign-based company sales income. Let's look at maybe a couple more examples. Let's take the example where, and by the way, this one is maybe a little bit less obvious. But let's say I have foreign sub 1 and foreign sub 2. This is located in country A, and this is located in country B. Well, in this scenario, let's say that foreign sub 1 is a manufacturer. It's going to sell goods to foreign sub 2, country B. Foreign sub 2 is then in turn going to sell to customers in something that's not country B. So again, foreign subsidiary procures from outside of its country of incorporation, country A, sells outside of its country of incorporation, not country B customers, and it has a related party that it's either purchasing from or selling to, and in this case it is one that it is selling, is purchasing from foreign sub 1, and that's the related party. This again would meet the definition of foreign-based company sales income. Similar to the example I showed on inbound procurement, global procurement can run into the same problem. So if I have a supplier, oops, not sure what happened there. But if I have a supplier sells into the procurement company, foreign sub 2, and then turns around and sells to foreign sub 1, and this again could be the manufacturer, so it's going to sell onto its customers in, let's just say, country F. Well, then what's going to happen is, for purposes of foreign sub 2, it's buying outside of its country of incorporation, and again we'll make this France. And it's selling into, and we can make this Ireland. Just to use some real names here. So Ireland buys from France, turns around and sells it to its manufacturing facility in, let's say, Mexico. Foreign sub 2 buys from outside of its country of incorporation, sells outside of its country of incorporation to a related party. Assuming it doesn't meet one of the exceptions, this is foreign sales income, foreign-based company sales income, and it's subpart F income. If I take the same analysis at FS1, it also is procuring from outside of its country of incorporation in Ireland from a related party, and it's selling outside of its country of incorporation in country F to its customers. But the difference here is that this company, as we indicated, is a manufacturer, and in a prior video we talked about manufacturing being one of the exceptions. So this does not generate a problem, generally speaking. Let's do one other example. There are also instances where you structure a transaction so as not to have the sale, and therefore you can't have the foreign-based company sales income, but you still achieve the same result. And we're going to find that this falls under the same definition. But if I have a U.S. company with a foreign subsidiary and there's a foreign customer, U.S. company turns around and sells directly to the foreign customer the tangible property, the product, right? It's then paid for that. And then the U.S. company turns around and pays a commission to the foreign sub. This gets trapped in the same foreign-based company sales income because the income is incident to the sale of the tangible property, which was generated outside of the foreign sub's country of incorporation. Let's just say this is A, the foreign customer is in B. So again, another, I won't say a trap for the unwary, but another instance where the foreign-based company sales income component of subpart F can come back to generate a inclusion event. And again, just to reiterate the inclusion event is the income that the foreign sub receives, assuming not meeting any of the exceptions, is then treated as a deemed distribution back up to the U.S. In other words, there's no deferral allowed on the income. So there's a couple of examples of foreign-based company income, and hopefully that helps clarify.